Hello and welcome back to Love English. I'm Leila and today I want to help you understand articles. Today we are looking at the definite and indefinite article, the, and an. And if you didn't realise, there's actually a fourth article. This is called zero article. That's right, there is an article for nothing. So why is it we would say, the Queen went to the moon to have a lovely tea. She got there in a Ferrari. The Ferrari was red. Quite a strange picture to paint, but a really good illustration of the rules of articles. Now, before we get started, don't forget to click that subscribe button and of course the notifications bell until it looks like this, so you can be notified when our lessons are uploaded and be one of the first to like, comment and share the Love English. So let's get started. The, an and zero article. Right then, articles, the rules. Now, in order to help you understand the rules, I'm breaking them down into specific sections. First, we'll look at countable and uncountable nouns. Then we will look at articles in daily life, geographical features, hobbies, and other things that we use articles with. Now, to understand the main rule for and an, the indefinite article, you need to know what a vowel and a consonant is. So in the English language, we have 26 letters. And we break those letters into two categories, vowels and consonants. Now, a vowel is nice and easy to remember. A-E-I-O-U. A-E-I-O-U. Say it fast, repeat it. And you will remember that those are the vowels in English. Now, although there are 5 vowels, we actually have 20 vowel sounds in English. So that can get a little bit confusing. But essentially, every other letter in the English language, P, T, R, L, N, Q, these are all called consonants. And rule number 1 of articles, goes with consonant sounds, okay? Words that begin with a consonant sound, but an goes with words that start with a vowel sound. Now, I keep emphasizing sound. It is not about the letter, it is about the sound it makes. Because unfortunately in English, just to confuse you, there are a few words that although the letter is a vowel, the sound is actually a consonant. So, for example, we would say an umbrella, an umbrella. But we would say a university, a university. There we have a umbrella, but ya, university. And in this case, the ya is a consonant. Y is not a vowel sound. So the reverse is also true. Sometimes in English, we may have a consonant at the beginning of a word, but that consonant is silent. For example, an honest man. Not honest, but honest. An honest man. So when you are choosing whether to use a or an, make sure you listen carefully for the beginning sound in that word. Is it a vowel sound or is it a consonant sound? So let's have a look at countable and uncountable nouns, because that's one of the biggest differences. Let's go through some of those rules. Use the indefinite article for a single countable noun mentioned for the first time. Then use the definite article when it is mentioned again. For example, the Queen went to the moon in a Ferrari. The Ferrari was red. Next, use the zero article for uncountable nouns, general ideas, and plurals which haven't already been mentioned and are not followed by a descriptive phrase. For example, friendship is an important part of life. Love is a complex thing. I love cats. She ate a lot of chocolate. How much water did you drink? I drank a lot of water. Remember to understand the difference between countable and uncountable nouns. Remember, an uncountable noun is essentially a noun that you can't count. It might be an abstract idea, it could be a liquid, or particles that are very, very small, like rice or sand, which in English we would not try and count. And if you're not sure which nouns are countable and uncountable, make sure that you do click that subscribe button, because I'll be giving you more information about that in a new lesson very soon. Next, use the definite article, the, with a noun that is followed by a descriptive phrase. The pub that we went to was very old. I like the cats at her house. In this case, we are referring to something specific, but it is definite. We know which item, which thing, which cats, which pub we are talking about, and we give a description of that noun to clarify. So, the Queen went to the moon. This is another basic rule of articles. We use the definite article when there is only one of something, when it's unique and there are no others. Now, of course, we have many queens around the world, but most of the time when you use the, you would understand that you are referring to the queen in that country in which you live. So when I talk about the Queen, I am referring to Queen Elizabeth. And then we use the zero article for names of people and places. So we wouldn't say I went to the London with the Sally. You could say I went to London with a friend. We don't know which friend that is yet, so you'd use the indefinite article. Moving on. Using articles in daily life. Now this is one that you often get incorrect. I had a lunch. I had a dinner. No, we would not use an article with lunch, breakfast, dinner unless an adjective precedes it. So an adjective comes before the meal. You could say, I had a lovely lunch. I had an amazing dinner. An amazing dinner. Pay attention to the vowel and consonant sounds there. But normally it is zero article before lunch, breakfast, and dinner, unless you have an adjective before it. Use zero article for general forms of transport. So with boat, train, plane, I went by plane, I went by car, I use trains to go to work, I commute by train. We wouldn't use zero article. But you could potentially say, I took a taxi, I took a bus to work. You're not referring in general there, you're referring to one specific bus, but we don't know which bus you took. I took a bus to town. The bus I took was the number 27. Use the definite article for forms of media. I listened to the radio. I went to the cinema. We watched an amazing play at the theatre. The next one is a little bit complex. Use the zero article for an educational building, a church, hospital, prison, when, however, you are referring to the activity which usually happens there. For example, she went to hospital when she was feeling unwell. He went to prison for committing a crime. But be careful, when we are talking about these places and we're actually referring to an activity happening there that is not the normal activity, not normally associated with that building, then we would use the. So, for example, I went to the prison to visit him. I went up the hospital to see how she was feeling. So there, we've visited the places. I'm not going to prison because I've committed a crime. I'm going to visit someone. I'm not going to hospital because I need an operation or I'm sick. Again, I'm visiting someone. But otherwise, we would normally use zero article. I went to church to pray. I went to the church to look for my friend. Use the indefinite article for jobs. I am a teacher. He is an astronaut. She is a secretary. He's a firefighter. These are jobs. And remember again, vowel and consonant sounds. Now, did you know you can take an adjective and make it a noun with the definite article? In this case, we would be referring to groups of people. For example, the rich, the poor, the educated. We're taking adjectives here, and in this case, we are talking about all the people that are rich, all the people that are poor. The rich are so lucky, they have everything they want, whilst the poor have to suffer. So there we have a specific class or group of people. Now, geographical features. Let's understand the differences here because it is a little bit confusing. We use the zero article for countries, right? All countries. Wrong. Whilst we would say England, zero article, Spain, zero article, France, zero article. We don't say the Spain, the England, the France. When we have a collection, we would use the definite article. The USA, the United States of America, the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, the Netherlands, plural, the Maldives, a group of islands, or a republic, the Republic of China, but we'd say China. Hopefully you can remember that one because it's often one that people make mistakes with. We use zero article for single mountains. Mount Everest, Mount Kilimanjaro. But for mountain ranges, we would use the Alps, the Andes. Pay attention to my pronunciation there. A quick tip for you. The is with consonants, the cats, but the is with vowels, the Andes, the animals. Oh my goodness, we're learning a lot today, aren't we? There are obviously a few exceptions. We would say the Matterhorn. There's always an exception. Sorry, guys. Use the definite articles for seas and oceans. The Mediterranean, the Pacific, the Atlantic. But for lakes, it's zero. Lake Taupo, for example. And with rivers, we would use the Nile, the Amazon River, the River Bourne, the. And deserts, the Sahara, the something desert, deserts. Now for hobbies, we use the definite article, but only when we are talking about musical instruments. I play the piano, he plays the guitar. For sports, we use zero. I play basketball, I play golf, I play, what do I play? I'm not very good with sports actually. Football, there we go. Zero article, zero for sports, the for musical instruments. Now as well, we of course use articles in grammar. So the definite article is used with superlatives. The most beautiful, the best person, the worst student. None of you are the worst student. And double comparatives, where there is a correlation between two things. The harder you work, the better your English will be. The more you practice, the better your pronunciation will be. And we use the indefinite article when it means per. So, for example, I drove 100 miles per hour. Actually, more commonly, we would say I drove 100 miles an hour. So there we have it. Those are some of the most essential rules to understand when it comes to learning articles. A, an, the, and zero article. Now, remember, the most important thing to do here is to practice. So if you go down to the comments section below, I have put an activity, a practice activity for you guys to complete and fill in the gaps. Make sure that you check the rules, that you review this grammar, because believe me, you will need to do it to make sure that you understand when to use articles correctly. So click down in the comments section below, copy and paste the exercise, and when you have completed it, paste it back into your comment and I will correct your answers there. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this grammar lesson is going to be of some help to you. And remember, the more you watch Love English, the faster you will improve.